Facebook has just filed a fourth amendment to its S1, revealing new information about how fast it is growing. Let's bring back our Jon Erlichman with more on that. John.
Emily, this filing helps investors not just see the growth, but the cost of growth at Facebook. It also lists more details on the company's purchase of Instagram. And as you mentioned earlier, that Facebook has chosen to list on the NASDAQ under the symbol FB. Lou Kerner was one of the first analysts to cover social media. He's now the founder of the Social Internet Fund, and he's in New York. And Lou, what stood out for you? Obviously, a lot of people concerned about the higher costs in running this business.
Yeah, certainly. I think we saw a slowdown in the revenue, which generally the same thing happened last year, first quarter versus fourth quarter. What I was most encouraged by, though, was the re-acceleration in their daily active users, the amount of people on a day-to-day basis that are logging into Facebook. That number increased more than 8% quarter over quarter. That was up from 6% the previous quarter. So what we're seeing is, though, while the financials, I think a lot of Wall Street is going to see it as weak because we saw a lot of slowdown in growth and a lot of acceleration on the revenue side and a lot of acceleration on the cost side. I think Mark Zuckerberg is really taking a long-term view here, focusing on both members and even more importantly on engagement, and both of those metrics continue to grow rapidly.
Well, let's stay on that for a second, because a lot of people will see a number like 900 million, which I believe is the monthly number, and they might not see the difference between the daily number. Why is the daily active user that much more important?
Well, I think they're both important, but daily active users really is showing how many of Facebook's users are really highly engaged. And at more than 500 million versus 900 million, what you're seeing is that, in fact, the majority of Facebook users are highly engaged, and in fact, they're growing as a percentage of the total Facebook user and that user base, and that's really positive for Facebook. I mean, they continue to grow the total time spent on the internet. Here in the U.S., they're approaching 20% of all time spent on the internet is spent on Facebook today.
We just showed some numbers on the mobile usage, too. Obviously, Facebook, through this process of filing its documents to go public, has felt the need to clarify where it is taking this business. What did you learn about Facebook's mobile strategy in this updated filing?
They continued to grow their mobile usage as well very strongly in the quarter versus the first quarter. They only report mobile on a monthly basis, but that number continued to grow rapidly. And it's important when you understand the slowdown in revenue for Facebook, you put it into the context that their mobile base is growing very rapidly, and today they're not monetizing mobile at all. So if you think about where Facebook's revenue growth is going to come down the road, it's going to come very rapidly as they start to monetize that very big and rapidly growing mobile user base.
I've got to ask you about the Instagram deal. Obviously, a lot of people were wowed by the fact that it was a $1 billion deal. Mark Zuckerberg's go-it-alone strategy, if you will, on that. And what they say in this updated filing is that there's a breakup fee if the deal doesn't go through of $200 million. That's like 20% of the price tag of the deal. What did you think about that?
That's obviously a really big number, but I think that goes to show the confidence that Facebook has that they're going to close the deal. I think one of the risks that we see to Facebook in the long term is anytime a company gets this big and has this big of a market share, if you think of social networking, they've got, a very big share of that marketplace today. I think regulators are going to take a look at any acquisition and really scrub it. So if you're Instagram, you want to make sure that if it gets broken up, you still end up a winner. And I think looking at it from Facebook's perspective, I think they have a lot of confidence that it's going to go through.
Hey, in the last 20 seconds, obviously a lot of people like to attach a $100 billion valuation to Facebook. What do you think Facebook's worth based on this filing?
I think this filing didn't change my view at all. I think nobody, who really understands Facebook well is valuing it based off of this quarter or last quarter's number. And I think 100 billion is probably, I think when it starts actually trading, we're going to see it trade above that number.
All right, we'll be watching for it. Lou, thanks a lot. Lou Kerner, the founder of the Social Internet Fund, and Emily, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, John.